Welcome to Africa 24, Africa's Pan-African channel, always serving the best information for you. Music, culture has, for over the ages, served as a great instrument to break cultural barrier in our continent. On today's edition, we have on board Mr. Abdul Karim Abdullah, CEO of Cultural Management Group, who is going to enlighten us on the cultural aspects of Africa. Welcome, Mr. Abdul Karim Abdullah.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
An honor to have you on board.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited to be here in Cairo, around all this greatness, African ingenuity, people looking to invest in Africa. It's been exciting, it's been motivating, and it's been encouraging as well to kind of see what the future of Africa looks like.
Awesome, our pleasure. Yeah. So Mr. Abdul, tell us more about the Afro Management Group and the Afro-Future Festival.
Absolutely. Culture Management Group, I'd say, is a mixed media platform that's responsible for Afro-Future Festival in Ghana. Culture Management Group does a lot of things from, whether it's curated events. We recently just did Battle of Jollof in New York, which is a competition around friendly rivalry between Ghana and Nigeria, where we put it against basketball players and give young, aspiring basketball players, college players, professional players an opportunity to come together with the community in New York. We've also done premieres for movies such as Gangs of Lagos, but most popularly known Afro-Future Festival in Ghana, formerly known as Afrochella, is something that we used to do, in Ghana. And, it's been growing over the past couple of years. And what we think about this festival really is about communication between the global Black diaspora. We want people to come together based on our four tenets, which are food, art, fashion, and then music, of course. We think that if you have an understanding of someone's food, the type of food that they eat, the type of clothes that they wear, the art that they enjoy, and the music that they listen to, you have some understanding of who they are and their culture, where they come from, an understanding that I think we need to share with the world. So that's what we stand for, and that's the work that we continue to do.
Awesome. So you just signed a deal with Afrexim Bank. What
Absolutely.
impacts does this have for not only for the continent and your business partners, but for you as an individual and as a company as well?
Well, honestly, first of all, thank you so much to Afrexim Bank for having us here and for the work that they're doing across the continent, supporting the creative sector. A lot of the work that we do is very different than what your parents might want you to do, right? A lot of our parents want us to be doctors, lawyers, and things of that nature, but there's an opportunity for the creative opportunity to grow business in Africa. And there's an opportunity for us to be able to tell stories from an African perspective, not only for the world, but for each other, right? I think that the barriers that have been created for us has not allowed us the benefit of being able to learn and understand each other and the nuances between us, even people outside reference Africa, as if it's not 54 countries. Now, this deal with Afrexim Bank, what it does is the first time we've ever taken any type of support from any entity as a culture management festival. We've been in existence for about 7 years. We've been self-financing. We've gotten the support of brands such as Meta, Instagram, YouTube, Sony Music, Audio Mac, TuneCore. All of these brands have come on to support us, but these are foreign brands. Until recently, we haven't gotten any support locally. So they're monumental for Afrexim Bank to come on board and give us the support to be able to support our infrastructure, allow us to grow our production equipment, allow us to be able to create programs, to create jobs and opportunities for people, allow us for us to be able to tell stories in different parts of the continent, expand our audience, expand our staff, give ourselves an opportunity to give full-time jobs and not per diem jobs. Right now, as a festival, we average about 1,500 jobs, seasonal jobs, every year in December. This facility allows us to be able to get some permanent jobs, not only in Ghana, but in other markets that we currently operate in, maybe Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa, soon to be Egypt, Rwanda, Senegal, and things in the stuff that we're doing. So I'm pretty grateful for this deal that we just signed.
Being a CEO definitely entails you are a vision bearer. So what's your vision? What's the next step for the festival?
Well, the festival we started out with the message of come to Ghana, come to Africa, experience Africa, and one of the things that we've been able to see is that we've been able to help demystify Africa in the eyes of so many people who just didn't have an understanding of Africa, or they had been taught something that wasn't true. They got to see it for themselves and experience it for themselves, at least from the America side. Within Africa, we've also seen that a lot of Africans are also traveling out of their countries to come to Ghana. And that's something that we're very proud of, because now we're seeing people travel amongst each other and get to learn about each other. So for me, the next vision is really kind of creating stories that allow us to be able to see ourselves. So many of our TV shows are showing foreign movies, foreign TV shows, foreign stories, but you know, those stories that your grandmother passed to your mom and then they pass to you, those are the stories that we need to be seeing. Those are the stories that where we can see ourselves in Africa. And I think until Africans start to learn about each other, you know, Ghanaians really learning about what's happening in Botswana, and Botswana really learning about what's happening in Cameroon, or Cameroon really understanding what's happening in Burkina Faso, and just even on the continent, for us to know the opportunities that exist amongst us, for us to kind of figure out where collaboration and cooperation can happen is the first step. And the next step, we also get an opportunity to come together and change the narrative for the world, so that we are setting the terms for how people see us, how people engage.
As a black continent only.
You know, we need to be known as the continent that's setting our own agenda, that's telling our own story. Then that means we have self-sufficient power of how people see us, how people view us, how people interact with us. And that's the vision that we have as a festival. We want to leverage food, music, art, and fashion to do storytelling and culture. You know, I mean, you know, everybody battles, like everybody talks about jollof now, right? But like, can we have a documentary on how jollof traveled to all of these countries? Can we talk about why, although in West Africa, all of the countries may be different, but the foods are very similar? Can we talk about that? Can we talk about how even in the Caribbean, you know, some of our ancestors that were enslaved and moved to the other parts of, why some of their foods are very similar to what we eat here? Where's the stories about that? You know, where's the stories about our cuisine? Why are we celebrating?
Tracing back history.
You know, everybody goes around the world and say, I want to eat Michelin star restaurant. Well, in Africa, we have that type of cuisine. We have chefs here who are just as qualified, but we're not celebrating them. You know, we're not celebrating the ingredients that are indigenous to our, you know, we need to tell stories around these things and show people opportunities, create jobs, and that's what we're looking to do.
So the music market is projected to reach $28 million in 2023, showing great economic potential for the continent. How can companies like yours help double these figures?
Well, you see, a lot of those figures are great, and you know, the problem I have with those figures is the majority of that money stays outside of Africa. We need to figure out a way to create that ecosystem where a lot of that money benefits the entire ecosystem in Africa, right? A lot of the companies are extracting our talent, bringing them abroad, they're taxing them abroad, they're keeping that money for the benefit of abroad. We need to be able to create those ecosystems right here on the continent, mix and master music, create opportunities for engineers, create opportunities for writers, create opportunities for producers. So nobody has to leave the continent. You know, we can create those opportunities that are good paying jobs right here to create a music ecosystem that benefits our community. That is how I see the music business can grow. But on a positive note, you know, there's always two sides to a story. On a positive note, the music has done wonders for market in Africa. You know what I'm saying? I think when people see the likes of Wizkid, they see the likes of Davido, they see the likes of all of these artists champion our music. I've seen the benefit of us going from people not wanting to be near us to, oh my God, I can't believe you're an African man. I love you. You're an African man. You know, and I think a lot of that has to do with the music. They've been championing our space. They've allowed us to be able to bring in our fashion. They've allowed us to be able to bring in our art and food, and people are talking about it now as a discussion. But now it's just about making sure that the ecosystem, the value that the music is creating is benefiting our ecosystem in terms of jobs, in terms of opportunity, in terms of value as well.
But Mr. Abdul, music is actually breaking cultural barriers for over the
100%,
years now.
100%.
With upcoming artists like Davido, like you earlier mentioned. But how can this same music actually facilitate trade, facilitate exchanges in different African countries?
Well, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like creating opportunities locally, right? Creating opportunities locally, mixing and mastering locally. So some of the work that we've done, we've created a program called the Rising Star Program, because we see the benefit of having an artist understand the entire ecosystem. Why? What is the music industry? How do you make money in the music industry? What are the components of the music industry? Giving that support to the artists, giving that support to their managers, and giving that support to their producers. So we collaborate with YouTube. We create a music masterclass. What does that do? You get a producer like Jules, who is a big part of the work that we do, and Grammy-winning, Grammy-nominated artist. You have a producer like Guilty Beats. We bring them in town. They teach 40 to 50 students an opportunity how to produce. Now these students have a skill that they can learn and be able able to produce music so that they can feed their own family, similar to how the people that value them. Or we partner with TuneCore and Audio Mac to create this Rising Star program. Everybody can't perform, but if we can give 25 of the top 10 artists an opportunity to be heard in different markets, that's value for them. If we can give them an opportunity to perform on stage, 5 of the top 5 artists an opportunity, that's value for them. Last year, during our Rising Star program, in collaboration with TuneCore and Audio Mac, we were able to get one artist signed to Sony Music. That artist has got an opportunity now to get her music marketed through the work that we're doing. So I think that there are a lot of different components of the music industry that we're not galvanizing support around to create opportunities. These are well-paying jobs in Europe, well-paying jobs in America, well-paying jobs in Asia. How do we create that opportunity here in Africa for these people? There are people here who are very musically inclined.
Very talented.
Have always been very talented.
Africa is known for its cultural diversity, the music we produce.
How do we create those jobs? How do we create those jobs that are well-paying jobs that can give people dignity, that can give them an opportunity to grow right here on the continent? If I can get a production job that's paying me what it pays somebody in the U.S., then why do I need to leave Africa?
You definitely stay home.
I'm not giving up 30% of my taxes.
Okay, but you've mentioned a lot of projects, a lot of ambitions that you actually want to implement in Africa. This definitely does not come without challenges. So what are the major challenges you face, and how do you think you can better combat them?
Well, I mean, I think that for a lot of our parents, entertainment is not a serious job. They don't really understand it, right? They didn't grow up in the internet era. I grew up, I'm lucky to be a part of the generation that grew up before the internet and with the internet. So I have a different perspective on life. Our parents focus on security. They know you about jobs that make sure that you're gonna make money no matter what. It's not about whether you love the job, it's about whether or not the job can provide for your family. And I think we need to move from that mentality to opportunities that young people are creating. And right now the gig economy, the internet economy is allowing equity for young creatives on the continent. We got Elson Majimbo. We have, Prince Jassi, who's an amazing photographer who are making money on the internet, millions of dollars. They're doing some amazing work. Or you have artists who are selling their work in Sotheby's. How do we create this space that allows us to be able to grow and harness creativity, to share our stories and to be able to create opportunities is some of the work that I'm very passionate about and some of the work that we want to do. We need government to start investing in these things. We need to change the mindset, allow them to understand it, allow them to see how if somebody hears Bob Marley, they're automatically transported to Jamaica.
Some government policies in some countries.
Exactly. So we need to be able to create change around how we appreciate the things that come out of our continent, how we appreciate talent, how can we monetize talent and create opportunities for young people who are talented. How do we discover them before people outside appreciate them? I think that once we are able to kind of own that model, we'll be able to start seeing the derivatives come in and benefit the work that we do.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard Mr. Abdul Karim inviting all of you to Ghana to the festival, to the cultural show, knowing that cultural barriers is actually a very, very instrumental tool in actually fostering Africa's growth. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more programs on Africa 24.